This is Chicago's very own WGN Evening News at 6.
We begin the 6 o'clock news here with breaking news. A so-called ComEd 4 have been found guilty on all counts in that complex bribery trial, which stretched on for more than 6 weeks.
WGN's Julian Cruz was covering it from the beginning. He begins our coverage now, live from the Dirksen Federal Building. Julian?
Well, Ben and Lourdes, right now, prosecutors talking to reporters about this successful prosecution, a tremendous victory for the government. All 9 criminal counts, the 4 co-defendants, the so-called ComEd 4, found guilty on all counts. A devastating outcome for the defense attorneys. Members of the family, the defendant's family, could be heard crying out in the hallway after the verdicts were read. This criminal conduct, according to prosecutors, undertaken with corrupt intent, the allegation, which the jurors have now, by delivering the guilty verdict, they agree with the government's assessment that this was a conspiracy over the course of 8 years, beginning in 2011, all benefiting Illinois, or the then Illinois Speaker of the House, Michael Madigan. Now, a short while ago, we had the opportunity to hear from one of the jurors. There was a lot of speculation about whether or not the jurors were having difficulty with the complexity of this case, but the juror came down and talked about how they got through it.
His involvement with this case, of course, was key, and you know, our perception was that he really did cause this all to happen. If it wouldn't have been for him, then these people would not have been in the position that they would need to commit crimes in the first place.
Was there any recorded conversation?
And interestingly, that juror talking about how when they saw the secret government recordings of conversations between Michael Madigan and Michael McLean, where they could be heard chuckling. The way the juror described it was they were proud of what they were able to achieve with this alleged conspiracy, and the juror said that that upset them when they heard that, and definitely had an impact. So Ben, you were asking earlier the question about how much did Michael Madigan influence this proceeding. The answer to that question is they were impacted by Michael Madigan and hearing some of those conversations.
And Madigan going to stay on trial next year. Certainly can't be good news for he and his team to hear that. Julian, while we have you, I wonder whether or not there are any questions for any of the defendants' attorneys, the ones who spoke anyway, about whether facing the possibility of prison time, their clients may be inclined to cooperate in the trial against Mike Madigan.
Well, our legal analyst, Terry Sullivan, talking to him earlier this evening, he says absolutely that this is something that they will more than likely seek unless they feel that they have enough evidence and they don't need any more testimony. But certainly they're seeking the cooperation of these defendants who could help themselves facing substantial jail time, as we talked about, Ben and Lourdes, in the last live report. The jail time that these defendants are looking at is significant. The penalty for falsification of documents and records and books, up to 20 years in prison and up to a $5 million fine. So seems like, Ben and Lourdes, these defendants certainly would be open to the possibility of trying to reduce those prison sentences.
Interesting. Julian, thanks for your work down at the federal courthouse.
All right, and as the rest of that sound continues to come in today, we are hearing from the prosecutor saying that he hopes this case will send a message to anyone in Illinois politics who thinks about engaging in corruption. Listen to this.
But I'll be the first to admit, we, meaning the feds, have been prosecuting public corruption for a long time. And it seems like a lot of people are slow getting the message. Hopefully the convictions in this case, the guilty verdicts, will bring that message home clearer, so people perhaps will think twice before they start down that path.
We also heard briefly from the attorney for former ComEd CEO Ann Pramaggiore.
We're disappointed with the verdict, and we will appeal. Thank you. what would be the grounds?
I guess we weren't kidding when we said briefly. Well, today's verdict is being watched closely by the legal and lobbying communities.
Joining us now, Lisa Duarte from Croak, Fairchild, Duarte, and Barris, as well as president of Point of Difference Strategies. She's joining us now live. Lisa, are you there?
I'm here. Thank you, Lourdes.
Okay, we see you. Let's talk a little bit about reaction from the lobbying community, really, in Springfield and even here in the Chicago area. What are you hearing?
Well, obviously, you know, this verdict just broke. I mean, we're not even an hour or so away from it hitting the news, but I think it's a shock. I don't think anyone expected that all 4 defendants would come down guilty. You know, the jury's been out for several days. Usually we expect the longer they're out, the more likelihood of a not guilty verdict. But this verdict is definitely going to change the way that lobbying is done, and specifically the way that elected officials interact and recommend lobbyists for various entities that are lobbying them.
Lisa, that's a great point. You are a lobbyist. Tell me how you think it might change the way things are done, either in Springfield or at City Hall in Chicago.
Yeah, so I think that there's probably 3 biggest takeaways from this. And it's going to be, how do you select your lobbyists? A big part of the conversation in this trial was that ComEd was directed to hire specific lobbyists. I think that that's going to change. It might shift from rather being directed from an elected official to it being a qualifications-based selection process, something that is objective and that is transparent. It could be some kind of a, you know, request for qualifications process that you see often in government contracting. I think that will be adopted across the private sector more often now. There's also the issue of showing your work. A big part of this case was the fact that these were no work contracts. So more accountability, maybe monthly reporting, more defined scopes of work for lobbyists and the clients that are pursuing them. And last of all is, you know, register. There was a lot of subcontracting from lobbyists to other lobbyists, and also consultant work that was being done. Most of those requirements were addressed by Governor Pritzker's ethics bill that he passed a couple of years ago that has been phased in. But I think the first 2 points of, you know, how do you select your lobbyists and making sure that you show your work, that you're doing something in exchange for that contract, is where most of the focus should be.
Those are all such interesting points. Good answer there. Lisa, I do want to ask you, you know, this is not the first time that we see a corruption case of this level here in Illinois, but yet those differences, those changes that you talk about were not happening. Do you think this case will be enough to bring about the change that is needed in the lobbying world?
You know, that's a really good question, Lourdes. These are, you know, this is 8 years, at least $1.3 million in question. You know, it's going to depend on the sophistication of the client, on the sophistication of the lobbyist. I think people are going to be very cautious, but, you know, I think there are always some bad actors in any industry that you look at, but there are also people that are here trying to, you know, seek action from their government, which they're constitutionally allowed to do and encouraged to do, and they're going to continue to try and do that, and they have the best intentions at heart.
Lisa Duarte, we appreciate your insight as always from Croak, Fairchild, Duarte, and Barris. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.